So one more thing we did on Wednesday's class was we introduced our final author, Sandra Cisneros. And you can find her work in our Blackboard folder called, Final Stories, Sandra Cisneros Stories. We've got 3 documents there. We've got 5 pages total. So they're shorter stories, but there's a lot there in terms of figurative language. I'm just going to spend a couple minutes on this first little, really little flash fiction vignette. And what we did is we read this as a class, and then we looked in here for figurative language. So at the end of our semester, I'm going to be asking you guys to take a look at the last 3 authors we've read, Jamaica Kincaid, Talib Salih, and now Sandra Cisneros. And I'm going to ask you how they use figurative language to talk about coming of age. And so it's a good idea to start now looking for figurative language in what we read and what we've read, and thinking a little bit later on about how it relates to coming of age. So let's look here. Hairs. Everybody in our family has different hair. My papa's hair is like a broom, all up in the air. And me, my hair is lazy. It never obeys barrettes or bands. Carlos's hair is thick and straight. He doesn't need to comb it. Nenny's hair is slippery, slides out of your hand. And Kiki, who's the youngest, has hair like fur. But my mother's hair, like little roses, like little candy circles, all curly and pretty because she pinned it in pin curls all day. Sweet to put your nose into when she's holding you and you feel safe, is the warm smell of bread before you bake it. Is the smell when she makes room for you on her side of the bed, still warm with her skin, and you sleep near her, the rain outside falling and Papa snoring. The snoring, the rain, and Mama's hair that smells like bread. And so actually, a lot of this is figurative language. So a couple things we look for right off the bat. Start with comparisons, so metaphors, similes, and we'll also take a look for what do these comparisons try to tell us. Okay, so in the first paragraph we've got a few examples. Can you spot them? One thing that people pointed out is this one. My papa's hair is like a broom, all up in the air. What kind of figurative language is that? So we've got 2 things that are being compared, my papa's hair and a broom. Are these 2 things alike or unalike? Okay. And me, my hair is lazy. That's an example of personification. Your hair can't be lazy, but we can see what the narrator is talking about. That's also a type of metaphor. The rest of these are a little bit more straightforward. This last one is kind of on the edge of whether or not you could call it figurative language. I suppose you could. But in this paragraph, we can see, one, that the mother's hair is getting more attention than the rest of the characters in the story. And so that is on itself going to be significant. But let's look at the figurative language in this paragraph. My mother's hair, like little rosettes, like little candy circles. Sweet to put your nose into. Is the warm smell of bread before you bake it. Okay, there are a lot of really kind of cozy, comforting images here. The sound of rain, Papa snoring. But let's look at all of the things that the mother's hair is compared to. My mother's hair. Okay, so this is the thing that is being compared. My mother's hair is being compared to little rosettes. It's being compared to candy. It's being compared to the warm smell of bread. Okay. And so, if you put all of these things together, what do these comparisons tell us about the relationship the narrator has with the mother? How does the narrator feel about the mother based on these comparisons? And in order to dig into that, it's valuable to ask, okay, what do these things have in common? Rosettes, candy, the warm smell of bread. What types of smells do those things all have? What is the effect on a person when they smell those things? And from there, we can decide, okay, how does the narrator feel about the mother? How does the narrator feel towards her mother? What kind of a relationship do they have? Okay? And so I'm going to ask you to read all of the Sandra Cisneros pieces for Sunday. And again, it's 5 pages. And pay attention particularly to examples of figurative language and how they might relate to the idea of coming of age.